What's happening, guys, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. The Incredible Hulk has been stomping the grounds of Marvel Comics since the early 60s, and with actors like Lou Ferrigno, Eric Bana, Edward Norton, and of course our very recent Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo!
Most of us are pretty aware of the Hulk's abilities by this point, and now we finally get to see the Jade Giantess Jen Walters come into the MCU next year with She-Hulk on Disney+, and we're so excited. We also have many She-Hulk storylines to choose from, and fans are excited to see more green goodness in any way. But just how many more Hulks are there in the comics? Well, I'm Taylor McWatters, and here are the top 10 most powerful Hulks you've never heard of. Let's dive in. Kicking off the list, number 10, Zombie She-Hulk. First appearing in Marvel Zombies Dead Days, issue number 1 back in 2007, the story takes place on Earth 2149 after a zombie plague, which you may have guessed by now just based off the name. Now this comic is super dark and gory. The zombie runs give us a fun variation of the Avengers, especially Jen Walters. See, when Jen first arrived at the Avengers mansion after the Avengers Assemble call, she was shocked to find that Earth's mightiest heroes have become Earth's munchiest heroes, no thanks to a plague. Now it wasn't long at all before Jen herself was zombified, and then she got this fantastic appetite. Yeah, she took a bite or 6 out of Franklin Richards and his sister Valeria. So you can imagine the look on the Fantastic Four's face when they returned. They weren't too jazzed, especially Sue Storm. And before we go on with this list of incredible Hulks, guys, if you want to go ahead and Hulk smash that like button, that would be great. It really goes a long way for our channel here. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Now let's get right back to this list. Number 9, Venom Hulk. Okay, this next one isn't around too long in the comics, but maybe that's a good thing. Venom Hulk is terrifying, and it all goes down in the 1989 What If series, issue 4. It shows us what exactly would happen if the alien costume had possessed Spider-Man. It's a pretty scary alternative to if the Fantastic Four hadn't been able to separate Peter and the suit originally. Now it gets ugly pretty quickly, and the other Avengers are called upon to try and stop Peter from causing irreversible damage. Doctor Strange hurls spells at him for hours, and it's still no use. Now it's no surprise that when the Hulk comes in to start smashing, the symbiote sees his power and it wants that power. It's like, this guy's pretty jacked. And then when it comes into contact with the Hulk, this behemoth is born. So finally Thor comes around to hopefully try and end this disaster of a situation, but he's greeted by a creature containing the powers of both Spider-Man and the Hulk. Good game, guys. Number 8, Captain Universe Hulk. This one is short and sweet. Captain Universe isn't a person, per se, despite how the name sounds. It's the uni-power, which is an aspect of the Enigma Force. It's a manifestation of the universe itself, it's sentient, and it's on the hunt for whoever is in ultimate danger. It bonds with them. And after we just heard with Venom Hulk, it's safe to say that we're in for another bonding treat of some sorts. The Unipower has bonded with Daredevil, X-23, and when Banner accidentally steps on a bear trap in Captain Universe in the Hulk issue 1, he bonds with the Unipower in order to survive the cold and dangerous landscapes. Imagine just stepping on a bear trap and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm the Unipower, you need me, trust me. You're like, oh, this day sucks. Number 7, Lizard Hulk. Lizard Hulk is so much fun. Okay, let's talk about it. He comes from Earth 19919. His name is Robert Banner, and he of course has a similar origin that we're most familiar with when it comes to the Hulk. Only he was infected by the spider virus in Spider Island issue 1, released back in 2015. So now he's the Hulk, but he's got extra arms, and that means he's even more powerful. How wonderful! The Spider Queen is standing tall over Manhattan, with the residents of New York City turning into spiders. So for our heroes, it's probably best if they switch to a different animal's DNA, to avoid the whole mind control Spider Queen situation. So Captain America gets a hairy upgrade, and then the Hulk gets paired with some lizard DNA, resulting in a weird but exciting showdown. It's like Godzilla meets Ganon meets Bruce Banner. It's just a hot mess. Number 6, Nerd Hulk, aka Robert Banner. He made his first appearance in the Ultimates with Avengers issue 3. Nerd Hulk sounds like a version of the Hulk that we saw from Endgame, but there's more to it. See, this Hulk is actually referred to as Vampire King, which sounds interesting, but I'll get to that in a second. So he was a clone originally created by Stark's older brother, Gregory Stark. Now the clone has all the smarts and it has the Hulk's strength, but it lacked the anger, which Captain America wasn't really a fan of. See, Cap was also able to take him down easily, so it's clear you need to have anger in order to be the Hulk completely. So when Nerd Hulk is sent to take on Red Skull, he's actually able to crush the Cosmic Cube. Only this was an illusion and the Red Skull was able to blast Nerd Hulk away. So now we need an upgrade. We need to change something up. We can't have the Hulk just getting blasted away every time there's a mission. We needed some anger in there so our clone Robert can pull his weight, literally. So he wasn't active for a while after this point. He was even denied when he asked to rejoin the team after they took on Ghost Rider. Poor Robert. So he traveled to New York City where there just happened to be a vampire outbreak. So now he's Team Edward, vampire and all. He's working for the vamp leader referred to as Anthony. So Banner ended up disagreeing with his leadership and took him out of the picture, and he actually took his spot. So now, Nerd Vampire Hulk was the new leader of the vampires, which is pretty sweet. Something we're probably not gonna get on screen, but it's nice to imagine. Number 5, Betty Ross, She-Hulk. While Jen Walters is known as the badass lawyer cousin of Bruce, who also likes to get big and green and punchy, Betty Ross has also held the mantle of one of Earth's mightiest. Coming again from the Ultimate Universe, Earth 1610, Betty Ross made her first appearance in Ultimates issue 3, and she's the daughter of General Ross, and she was actually roommates with Janet Van Dyne in college. So Janet started seeing Hank Pym, you know, that guy who's not the best at all, and then Betty started to date Bruce Banner. Now, as she watched Banner turn into the Hulk and smash things around, she actually grew to like him even more. Maybe she's into the bad boys, who knows? And then later on, Bruce had been out on trial and given the death sentence, you know, being the Hulk and all. He got into some trouble, and she was just devastated. So at this point, Jennifer Walters comes into the picture, but not as another version of the Hulk, not as She-Hulk. No, she comes in because she cracked the code on the serum at this point. She figured it out. So Betty lied to Nick Fury and said that Jennifer Walters was actually planning on selling that serum, but really she was just pirating the new Star Trek early. Which isn't nearly as bad as selling a super serum. So Betty herself ended up injecting the serum right before jumping out of a shield jet, and then she landed on the ground, and now she announced that she is Plan B. We love a cool superhero entrance. So Betty fought Wolverine and actually managed to gouge his eyes out, which, you know, not too shabby. Wolverine ended up winning in the long run, so now Betty is forced to wear a necklace that would choke her if she turned bigger and turned into the Hulk. Some of these stories are fun, some of them are just tragic. Betty's story is mostly tragic in this sense. Number 4, Red Hulk. He made his first appearance in the Incredible Hulk issue 1 as General Ross, but come the first issue of volume 2, Ross goes beast mode. He becomes one of the Hulk's greatest threats. He becomes the Red Hulk. Now, Red Hulk was created using gamma radiation, just like our Hulk, but what makes him even more of a menace is the fact that he also has cosmic rays added to that aggressive mix. Now, the Red Hulk doesn't get stronger the anger he gets like Bruce does, he actually gets hotter. He physically gets hotter, he starts to burn up. During one of their first run-ins with the Red Hulk, when the two Goliaths were battling it out, the sand around them while they were fighting actually turned into glass. That's how hot the Red Hulk had gotten. And when there's more glass, that just means there's more things to break. Number 3, The End Hulk. Written by Peter David, The Incredible Hulk The End shows us what Bruce Banner would look like after the rest of the world had fallen. So what happens when Bruce is the last thing alive, no thanks to his superpower? Well, in a one-shot released in 2002, we get the answer to that question. So after the events of this big nuclear fallout, Banner was the only person left alive, and the story opens up with Banner talking to just a vidbot, this floating camera that's always hovering 10 feet away from him. It's like the world's saddest vlog squad. It had found Banner when it was in the middle of confirming the eradication of humans, so now it follows him around forever, just waiting to see what happens. So Banner and the Hulk are on different levels at this point. The Hulk still wants to be a badass and fight things, but Bruce is done. He's tapped out. He looks around him and he sees giant mutated cockroaches, like, ew! He doesn't want anything to do with this planet anymore. He's done. He doesn't want to be alive anymore, but the Hulk. Number 2, Infernal Hulk. In an alternate reality where Bruce Banner and the Hulk had separated, yes, it happens quite often, Bruce ended up becoming the new Sorcerer Supreme, which sounds like the improvement of a lifetime, but it's kind of not. And as for the Hulk side, oh, he gets cast into hell, gone, just right down below. Not as bright and optimistic, that's for sure. He makes his mark in Deadpool Annual Issue 1, and when the Hulk spends enough time in hell, he's bound to change, and I mean probably for the worse. He becomes the Infernal Hulk, and when Spider-Man and normal green version of Banner come from a parallel universe, the only way he's defeated is when he's tricked to destroy the Eye of Agamotto, which in turn banishes him back down to the underworld. So he's just destined for hell at this point. And finally, number 1, Joe Fixit, Grey Hulk. Back in the day, Stan Lee actually wanted the Hulk to be gray, but due to ink and production problems, it ended up turning out green. Luckily, I mean, that's all we're used to now. Imagine if this guy was gray this whole time, that'd be kind of weird. So our first look back in 1962 at the Hulk was actually this gray version. Now, it was explained in the comics that basically because of Bruce Banner's repetitive use of the gamma radiation projectors, the character's skin went from being gray to green. So it made sense in the story. Now, the Gray Hulk and the Green Hulk are pretty much battling each other in Banner's mind. So they give the Grey Hulk a different identity now by referring to him as Joe FIXIT, this tough, big, bad security guard who works at a casino in Las Vegas. Now, Grey Hulk doesn't get mad as fast. He's actually pretty intelligent and quite manipulative, which makes him even more of a threat. Now, the Grey Hulk would often come out at night, and then he'd go back to normal by dawn, which is just a nightmare. Imagine seeing this guy in the middle of the night, you're just walking to your car, and you're like, is that the Hulk? Why is he wearing a suit? Why is he shuffling cards? What is this dude? There have been rumors that the Grey Hulk will make an appearance in the She-Hulk Disney Plus show. I mean, we saw Grey Vision, so now a Grey Hulk? Huh, how lucky are we? Too soon. That one felt like it was too soon. Well guys, there you have it. There's so many Hulks in the comics to choose from, so let us know in the comments which of your favorites we missed. Odds are we'll be back at some point for a part 2. I've been your host, Taylor McWatters. Thank you so much for watching Top 10 Nerd, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.